So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a panel of guests with me today for the finale of the Brown Bag Break. On your screen, you see all of their wonderful faces. And here in just a second, I'm going to stop sharing and you're going to get to see them live and in person as we join each other from our respective homes and workplaces on this fun end of pandemic year that we have had. And boy, have we learned some lessons, and that is going to be our topic today for lessons learned. This is the finale of the Brown Bag Breaks that I've been doing. This is the 25th episode, and I could not have thought of any better way than to end it. And so I will just go ahead and give everyone a brief moment to just introduce themselves and tell the listeners that are live as well as those that have catch this on replay who they are, what they do, and kind of short, brief introduction, and then we'll go right into our questions that my panelists know that I'm going to ask them, and then we'll go into, of course, after we hit the stop the recording button, we'll open it up for open discussion with all the live attendees. So let's go ahead and get started by, I'm going to again stop sharing my screen. So those of you that are attending live, if you do want to keep your camera on, you're welcome to do that. But if not, you can turn your camera and your audio off. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start with a rotation that I see on my Zoom. So I'm going to start with Miss Lee Perry. Lee, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
It works better if you're unmuted first. Lee Perry, in Evansville, Indiana, with Legal Shield and ID Shield.
Thank you. Lewis.
Hi, I'm Lewis Cheney. I am the founder and CEO of Get to the Damn Point, LLC.
Thank you. And Trish?
Hi, I'm Trish, and I have a company called Time Salvation.
Thank you. And then Nina.
Hello, I'm Nina Bambina. My business is Energy for Serenity, and I use energy to help people heal and clear old blocks.
Thank you. And I am Jen Montag, your primary host for the day, as well as the creator and owner of GenQuest and the Intentional Growth Club Facebook community, where some of you will be getting this recording. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to look at that first question. And what will it be? It is going to be this. What did you learn from operating your business in a pandemic? And you can dive in wherever you would like to start on that question. And if you don't dive in, I'll dive in.
Flexibility.
Flexibility, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And no doubt, just starting the year, I launched a new sales training product. I had scheduled the first meeting for March, I think. And I said, okay, well, we'll push it off to April. And then we pushed it off to May. So just being flexible and being able to go with the flow and find new ways of doing things.
Okay. Excellent.
Someone said to me, this is not for me, but boy, did it resonate, that we are all more adaptable than we ever thought we could be. And I thought, wow, yeah, that is, what a takeaway to realize something about ourselves that, you didn't know you had it in you, but you know what, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That kind of ties into what I've looked at is silver linings, because the program that I started, I've had it in my head for a while. It was something I was starting to get into at the beginning of this year. And I planned on doing this, but with everything that's happened, it sort of upped my timetable. So I found myself going, okay, this is a horrible, horrible situation, but there are some benefits in it if you can find them. And that's what I did. So it kind of ties into what you're talking about there.
Yeah, I think what everybody said is 100% true for me. And the other is that we can make it happen when can't isn't an option. And I think it took me a while to grieve about what we had lost, and who knows what normal's going to be. And I finally realized you can't wait. Like Lewis said, take the opportunity to make the shift now. And the other thing I think that I learned is that really about core values, who I am and what's important to me, and then that I'm operating from my strengths and really refocused on that.
I'll hit on that, Lee. Of course, leaning into like what you value the most has been key for me this last year. I also believe that engagement and focus on relationships with my existing clients, with my existing community became the center of what I did and how I spent my day, versus really trying to do as much in the sense of prospecting, because that kind of almost came to a complete stop. But I had the beauty of being able to spend a lot of time with my Facebook community, with my existing clients. And that's really where I decided to pour my energy in throughout the entire year. And I think that kind of centered me, because that was part of my value system and my foundation of what was most important for me. And the other thing that I really did learn in this past year was that we do have to pay the bills no matter what. So whatever that takes, and still being able to chase your dream, is admirable. No, there should be no shame in that. There should be no guilt in that. And that was something I had to process, because I had to go out and find some other opportunities for other sources of income in this last year to make it work, to make the bills, make sure the bills got paid. And I think that so many times when we're entrepreneurs and we're so passionate about what we're doing, we feel like we're going to have to trade the dream for the job. And I was fortunate enough, I was able to find something that in a way still kind of marries what I do, because I was supporting people. And that's the key thing. That's the core tenet of who I am as an entrepreneur, to serve others and be able to help them. As a social and emotional intelligence coach, I was actually able to leverage that skill set with the job I went out and found. So that was good.
And talking about that, Jen, a lot of times people don't take the time they need. They're always running, and they're going and they're doing, and they don't take that time for sitting down and doing a little bit of reflection and introspection. And if one thing this has given us, it's made us have to slow down. And I think because of that, it's opened our minds up a little bit, and we have been reflecting more on who we are and what we want. And as entrepreneurs, it certainly has helped me to really let my brain just dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the levels of what it is I want to do, where I want to go, who I want to help, and how, that I wouldn't have done probably had I just been doing the average run and gun day.
Well, it's almost slowing down to speed up. It's like you said, Lewis, taking that time and really reflecting on what's important, for you, and refocusing. And the other thing, Jen, I want to build on what you said, is that multiple streams of income for all of us is the way to go. I mean, I whether you got a job or you're an entrepreneur or whatever, I think what this tells us is the flexibility is a lot easier if we have ways to be flexible built in. And like you said, there's no shame in having multiple streams of income. And the really wealthy people, that's what they do, is figure out different ways to do different things and support different audiences.
And it just reminds me when I used to work at USI, and I would work with my students who were trying to figure out their major. And, they were a lot of them, they had come in pre-med, and then they discovered, actually, I don't like this, but now I have no idea what to do. And I would do exactly what you said, Jen. I would actually make them a 3-part Venn diagram, and one circle was their talents, and the other circle was their passions. And then the third circle was, what are the skills that you need, to use your passions and your talent. And that spot where they converge can be very many different things. And sometimes that may mean you have to add a few more skills, right? So for you, you needed to learn some things for the new job, but your talents and your passions were still part of it. And adding a few skills isn't necessarily the hard part. But like, Lewis said, being able to sit down and think about that and identify what are your talents, what are your passions, how can I bring them together and maybe in a new way use them. There isn't one way to help people and to be, they all went pre-med because they wanted to help people and they wanted to have a secure living. But not all of them, but many. Well, there's lots of ways to help people and have a secure living that have nothing to do with medicine. So thinking about that and then adding your skill set in.
You touched on learning new skills. That's another thing too, that we don't normally have the time or take the time to do. I mean, Google and the internet and YouTube are replete with all sorts of courses out there. I mean, from my side of things, I laugh coming from an editing background in television that there's software and things out there, because I've not done it in a while, that I'm sure there's some 12-year-old who can teach me how to use it, which is really, really kind of sad. But it's true, if you want to learn more about something, say like Excel, there are tons of courses out there for free on YouTube that you might not have had the time to take before to do, that now you can sharpen a skill in because you've got the time that you didn't have before. I just put up yesterday one of the Gotta Minutes that I do for my business. Every week I put up a 1 minute long little tip on something. And I talked about yesterday how interesting it is about Christmas time. We don't find the time magically at Christmas to go do all the Christmas stuff, wrap the presents, get the tree done, go out and see family and friends, cook and all of that. What do? We make the time. And that's really, really crucial, is making that time. And why can't we do that year round? Well, what's happened in the world today is we've been forced to have to make that time. And because now we've got it, why not use it and learn something new?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I read a lot more books and watched a lot more videos in the last year than I did the previous year. So
Well, I learned I have a new superpower, and it's getting octogenarians onto Zoom. So that's not many people can say that. So I was able to parlay being on Zoom and learning Zoom and understanding it to helping older folks be able to access Zoom, because so many of the all the meetings went online, and so many of the organizations were using it, that was something that I was able to help folks do. Probably partly because I'm married to an octogenarian, and he says, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
And such an important thing to teach them, because now they can be connected. There are yoga classes on Zoom if they do chair yoga normally. There's so many other ways that they can be connected and not feel isolated. And so that's a great example. You helped people in an unintended way as a byproduct of what's happening around us that can help them overcome and deal with what's happening, because they can Zoom with their family and friends or whomever, which before someone would say, hey, let's get on Zoom. And they would, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. Let's just talk on the phone. But Zoom is so much more rich than just talking on the phone. So good, Lee, that's wonderful.
It's kind of hard to do that with a flip phone, though. I don't know. I'll figure it out. How many buttons do I have to push here? How many 60s?
Now, Lewis, we have to embrace the wisdom that our people that only like the flip phones can bring to us. But I agree. I do think that was definitely a superpower. And I love that, Lee, that you put it as a superpower, because I think that a lot of people probably found things out about themselves that they had no idea what level of perseverance or resilience or stamina that they could have in 2020. That came to the forefront, and they realized that about themselves. And I do hope that if you're listening to this on the replay, you're celebrating that, because that is a true moment where you can say, I got this, I did this. And if we don't pause and really reflect and appreciate that about ourselves and just kind of move right on into the next year, then we're missing an opportunity to acknowledge something really good about ourselves.
I'm not gonna be near as cool as Lee. She's got these little things she can throw out, these little sayings. God, I love the way you do that. But it just made me think about this. How many people looked ahead at 2020 and 2019 and goes, this is my year. I'm going to do stellar things in 2020. We've heard about that. But think about this, and I'm going to be really cheesy for a second when I say this, but it's true. 2020 has, if it's done nothing, it has given us clarity of vision. We are focusing on the things we need to. We are seeing things different than we need to. So 2020 is apt in that we're looking at not only from our entrepreneurial stuff, but I'm sure businesses and finding ways, like Lee was talking about. You've got to find ways to adapt, the flexibility you all were talking about, to looking at the importance of family and friends, things that you might not have looked at before. So in a lot of ways, 2020 is the right thing for us to have the clarity of vision we've got now.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I can testify to that, because I have so many more clients than I had before. And every single one of them, even the clients from before, are so motivated. Here's this thing that just doesn't sit right with me anymore. And I want to do it differently. I want to learn a different way. I want to clear it. I want to figure out what the block is. I want to move past it. And that's exactly what you said, Lewis. Like, they had time to kind of pause and not just keep pushing through everything and say, wait, there's something here that I want to do differently. I want to feel differently. I want to experience differently. I want to interact with others differently. I want that relationship with others to be different, and the relationship with myself. And now they also have the time to act on it and to come and to try to do something about it. So for me, I mean, it's been great for my business, but it's also wonderful to see so many people just say, you know, enough is enough. I'm ready for something different and act
Yeah.
on it.
Nina, I think that's super powerful. And Lewis, I'm a little bit, I think like you, we've had some of these conversations. I'm a raging extrovert. So for me to be locked in my house was painful. And I had to grieve that. But I was one of those people, like you said, Lewis, man, I was busy all the time. I was running and gunning, and I never took the time to kind of step back and do the analysis and take the time to figure out what was working, what wasn't working, what did I need to focus on. And like you said, it forced us to clarity of vision. I think that's, yeah, super powerful. And what Nina said as well.
From the extrovert standpoint, Lee, I'm going to tell you, I'm not joking. I've told people this and I'm not kidding. When all of this gets to a point where it's safe to do, I'm going to get me one of those shirts that says free hugs. And I'm going to be standing outside Walmart because I got some catching up to do.
What a great point to end that first question. Thank you all so much for your contribution and answering my first question with in regards to what do we learn. But now let's go on to our next question, which is, what will you do differently in 2021, knowing what you know now from your experiences in 2020? So what is that different thing that you're going to do in 2021? Anybody want to dive in first?
Well,
Yeah.
I did it first last time. I don't mind doing it again, but I was trying to give somebody else a chance. But I know what I'm going to do differently is I spent a lot of time looking at my company because I had the time, looking at it and figuring out what was working and what wasn't. And that's going to be now a major part of 2021 for me, is stopping at least quarterly, if not monthly, and looking at what I'm doing and seeing what's working and what's not. I think, like we were saying before, is that we were just run because we didn't have the downtime, and then we were forced into the downtime. And so that's what I want to carry over into 2021, is just the ability to look back and see on a regular basis what's working, what's not, and move forward. And that's kind of my plan for 2021.
For
I like that.
2021, for me, what's happened is, strangely enough, from a speaking standpoint, I don't know how many of the rest of you go out and actually speak and do these things. We all take our content out there, but you can now do it differently than you could in 2019 because everything's here. Before, if I wanted to go speak to a group, for example, I spoke to a Rotary Club in Novato, California. That's not something I'd have had the opportunity to do had it not been for 2020, putting everything into a Zoom box. And because of that, now the world stage is my living room. I can go anywhere I want to. I can speak to any group I want to. And as long as this continues, and I think it's going to continue, in just my rough estimate, my own personal thought, I think it'll be at least into May before we get to where we're really loosening back up and you go out and you start speaking to groups and things again. But as that starts to release, that'll start happening. But I think there's still going to be a place for this. And I think people have found there's still a place for this. A lot of businesses have transferred over to where everything happens here. And I think they're going to like having that element still in there. For me, going into 2021 rather, I'm going to try to take what I've got from this and run it till it runs dry, because I want to be able to connect with as many people I can across the country without having to drive there to do it.
I can tag on to that. That's actually when I was thinking about what will I definitely take into 2021.
Mhm.
It was I was able to broaden my vision of this radius of where my work could exist beyond the physical realm of, where could I get there in an hour's drive. So because as a coach, but also someone who does training in person, that live audience, wherever they existed, was kind of where I was going. Well, I had the opportunity this fall to discuss and to present at a conference that was international. That probably would not have had presented itself as an opportunity if it was a typical 2020. So what does that do for 2021? That means my horizons have broadened, that I know that my services and my products and what I do deliver, and whether it's speaking or in training, can be done very virtually, and I need to incorporate that concept in everything I do for planning and how I prospect and everything in 2021.
Well, and one of the things that we've seen is, the ability to connect, as you guys are saying, and not just nationally, but internationally, is there's a networking plan called the Happy Neighborhood Project, and they have networking literally worldwide. And I have some friends that have been on it and have met people from, all parts of the UK, from Spain, just from all over and all over North America. And they're doing all this networking because so many of us have services that we can deliver virtually, and it's really expanded people's minds about what their business looks like. And I think for me, I'm really embracing the virtual world aggressively and moving forward to make it my primary MO. And then my in-person will be my secondary, where, before, just 10 months ago, it was the opposite. And then the other thing is looking at multiple streams of income, just to make sure that I've got that built-in flexibility. So as you said, Jen, we still have to pay the bills, and knowing that I can do it no matter what happens. And part of that for me is having business all over North America. What we've seen in my business is that if there's a natural disaster and you've got all of your business built in a particular area, on the Gulf Coast, and they get a hurricane, everybody's focusing on their themselves and not looking at building their business. The same with the West Coast, between the fires and the landslides and the earthquakes out there. You've got to have some diversity built into it.
Yeah, definitely was utilizing LinkedIn quite a bit this year. Reaching out to people that I didn't even know, just because they were in a similar type of business that had the same clientele as I did. And, now I have connections in DC and in Canada and California, all over the US. I haven't gone international yet, but I guess Canada, but, wouldn't that be neat to have clients over in Europe? I'd have to go visit them, right?
Have to.
To that end, about being international, something to throw out there as an idea for anybody who's looking to do this. I like to look up magazines, periodicals, whatever I can find locally produced stuff, wherever it may be, toss out what it is that I do and say, hey, would you like an article on this? As a result of that, I have hit on to some sort of a magazine in the UK. And when I wrote them and told them what I did, the guy goes, you are spot on to exactly what we do. We'd love to have it. So I'm going to be able to do an article that'll be published out there through their people in the UK. So it's an opportunity to expand globally when you're trying to reach out rather than using just the social media tools. Don't forget, there's all kinds of blogs and web magazines and things like that out there that would be in your particular area. Simply do a search on it, find it, send something to them and say, hey, here's what I do. Can I write an article? Can I submit something to your blog? And you can get out there and get exposure in a way and maybe bring in clientele that you hadn't thought about before.
Great idea, Lewis. That's awesome. Hey, what's the name of the magazine?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And off the top of my head, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's something like Secrets for Businesses or something like that. I forget the name of it. I'm so sorry. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, I was just curious. Interestingly for me, something that has come out of this for me, that definitely the online, and because I was so like all of us, and especially like Lee, I'm a people person. And so I was doing in-person workshops, and I had 2 in-person retreats scheduled, and I was teaching yoga in person. I have shifted things online, and I moved my retreat online. It was really successful. And I moved one of my I created a workshop online that I hadn't had in person. And one of my other face-to-face workshops I'm now working on getting online, and I created an online program. So I've added the online stuff, which has been wonderful and interesting and a journey in and of itself. I have to say, though, I'm shooting for 2022, when we can safely be together again, getting people together again for the things that I do, because I did one in-person chakra workshop with all the windows open and everyone's mask on and everyone apart and limited numbers. And it was the first one that I had done since February. And last year I did like 12 of them. And I was a little nervous at first, but once I got there and I saw that everything was, as safe as we can be, it felt so good. It felt so good. And when I can get ladies together again for a real overnight retreat and we're together, I'm doubling down. Going to make it more wonderful than ever, the communal cooking and all that stuff. That's why I'm figuring 2022, we need time to be that safe to be able to do those kinds of things together. But come that time, I need and I want to continue with the online stuff. When we're all feeling safe enough again, I definitely want us to not lose the richness of that and to be able to offer that again for people.
And get our free hugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Get your what?
Come
Free
see me. I'm
hugs.
telling you now. Come
Lewis
see.
said, get our free hugs.
I'll
I
hire
think that's
Lewis as our resident hugger.
There you go.
But Lewis, you want to know something funny? My son is very social like me, and we usually have large parties a couple of times a year, like 50, 60 people. So I said to my husband, I said, when we're all really, really safe again, we're having like a 200 people party at my house. And my son got super excited and he's like, and we can call it We Survived. Yes, it'll be the
You're
We
gonna have
Survived
you're gonna
party.
have him at the door like a Walmart greeter hugging people.
And
all
Lewis,
ask-
you're on the list. Don't worry.
So I hate to end this fun conversation, but we've got one more question and we're almost out of time. And it's amazing how fast this goes, but definitely, we definitely know that Lewis has a new job and ahead of him of being the free hug specialist. So there we go. So let me share my screen one more time and show the last question that I've asked everyone to come prepared with. And that is, what's one quick tip you have for other business owners as they plan for 2021? So what is that quick tip that you have?
Here's the thing, 11acity. It's higher than 10. Don't stop. You have got to push through no matter what. One of the things that people have said about me, and it's the way I feel about myself too, I bang my head on the wall, guys. I will bang until my head falls off. Put it back on, find another wall, bang that wall. I don't stop. And if you're an entrepreneur out there, you're a business, as you're going forward, do not stop.
I think for me, it's don't be afraid of change. My ex-mother-in-law said that businesses are like plants. They're either growing or they're dying. And sometimes we need somebody to kick us in the butt to say, it's time. You've been, and I can't remember who said that they were looking and it's time. And I think for a lot of us, this was the time that kicked us in the butt and said, okay, let's reassess, let's pivot, let's change whatever, but don't be afraid of seizing those opportunities when they arise and making the changes that you need to.
Excellent.
I would say don't go back. Just, after we've taken what we had in 2020 and we've learned the lessons and we've discovered new ways of doing things, don't go back. Just keep moving forward, keep changing, keep progressing, and don't fall back into the old patterns once you can. So,
And I would say to kind of balance out the idea of keep moving forward, because I'm a keep moving forward kind of person and I'm all for that. Too stagnant isn't great. Also, be kind to yourself when you need to pause. We all need to pause. I mean, I was on a big roll getting all my online stuff going, and then I had to deal with some personal stuff tied to COVID. Someone in my family passed and I had to deal with that. And it stopped me in my tracks, and my track was going full speed with the new online stuff and everything. And part of the struggle to get back on the train, if you will, was just being so surprised at myself. Like, wait a minute. Why are you so off track? You were just going full speed. And, talking to Jen and, and Lee and Sarah and, ladies who support me, and to just be kind with yourself, be generous with your kind of compassion towards yourself, that sometimes you do need to pause. In the back of your mind, you will get back on the train and start pushing again. Yeah, Lee wrote Grace. give yourself some grace, because yeah, right now is an extraordinary time, but all times have their challenges. And there's going to be times where, it's just too much and you do need to pause and you do need to breathe. And it teaches you humility and teaches you to be that way with your clients, to give them grace and space when you can give it to yourself. So I think a balance of the two are nice.
Excellent. All excellent tips. And I kind of said the same thing in the sense of welcoming change, because it will help you grow. When we resist the change, we're going to just stay where we are. But if we do welcome it, we do get the lessons learned that we talked about earlier in our conversation today. And just go into it assuming that your plans will change, that beautiful picture that you painted for yourself and what the goals you wrote down for 2021, just know that they're going to be changing, and you just have to be prepared for that potential worst case scenario, or what the opportunity may be presenting itself when one plan fails. What's the next opportunity that maybe that change created space for? So that's something exciting that we've got to look forward to in 2021, now that we've built these muscles of resiliency and 11acity. I don't know if I can say that correctly, Lewis.
11acity, higher than 10.
Higher than 10.
It goes to 11.
I appreciate that so much. So I do want to give an opportunity to all of the panelists to talk about what's next for them, because as we go into 2021, you all do some exciting things with your business. And so that's what's going to be next. And so I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to talk about what's next. And I'm going to start with Miss Trish. Tell us what's next.
So what's next is we're starting the new year with a new session of Jumpstart training. And that's the base of my sales training program for non-sales professionals. We start on January 7th, and it'll be 6 sessions every Thursday. And, it'll be about 2 to 2.5 hours. So come to one, come to all, just reach out to me, and I can get you that information.
Excellent. Mr. Lewis, what's next?
What's next for me? A few things real quick. First of all, I've got the consultations. If you want a consultation, just hit my calendar, set up one with me. Second of all, if you go to LinkedIn, find me there. I won't give you any more information than this. Go to LinkedIn and find me. I have something going on there where you could actually win the course. I have a Christmas spirit kind of a thing going on. So go there and you'll find out how to do that. But you have to find me on LinkedIn and look at my post. And finally, starting next year sometime, I've got something I'm working on with Channel 25 or Channel 7 / whatever they are. The Lifestyle Show with Angie Humphrey. Been talking to her, and we're looking to put me on as a subject matter expert on the topic I'm on. And I'll be appearing every now and then on her show, giving tips and tricks and advice and talking about what it is that I do.
Excellent. How exciting for you. Wonderful. Miss Nina, what's next for you, dear?
Well, I just want to say that I did the free consult with Lewis, and it was wonderful. I learned so much, and I still use what he taught me. So do it. It's fabulous. So for me, I have my online program coming up. It starts January 10th. It's called New Year, New You. And it is to help you feel grounded and centered, come into yourself, and know how to turn inside to feel calm rather than being blown around by everything going on, because who knows what 2021 holds. But it's a great way to start on this path to peace and joy, which you can take with you. It's a 4-week program. The first week, you free your mind so you can have a healthy perspective. The second week, you ground in your body so that you can understand the connection between mind and body and love your body. The third week, you center in your heart for unconditional love for yourself and others. And the fourth week, you connect to your soul, the light within you. And by that fourth week, you have a different sense of grounding. And so there's lots of support. There's 30 minutes of daily activities, and there's some energy work and lots of learning. It's a great program. And I have a special going for Jen's clients. And if you register by December 31st, you save $50. So if you're interested, it's on my website, energy4serenity.com, and it's the number 4, energy4serenity.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nina. And Miss Lee.
So I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm offering an hour consultation for idea generation. So I've always been that friend that you can call and say, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I've got this new idea. I don't know how to market it. And once we start chatting, the ideas start flowing. What about this? What about this? What about this? And you also get access to the Rolodex in my head. For the people that don't know what a Rolodex is, that's your directory. You know, if you're younger than that. But so what I thought about doing was just offering an hour, whatever it is that you need help with generating ideas about, let's chat. So
Excellent.
my Calendly link's on there. You can go ahead and go to my Calendly link and sign up for an hour and let's get you moving whichever direction you need to go.
Thank you so much, Lee. And what's next for me is that I did collaboration with Nina today. Not today, this year. I lost my words. Lewis, don't judge. So, so the Work It workshop, we did a live workshop in November that's now turned into a course. So that is still available for purchase. And that is kind of like on demand. You do it at your own pace. We have 3 planning sessions that are focused on your time management, financial, and marketing plans, as well as the wonderful opening and closing that Nina provides us to be able to get ourselves focused for the work we're doing, and then to take us on into how to envision what we want in 2021. So that is just for $27. And I am offering a 50% discount off monthly or annual for my Intentional Growth Club VIP program for women. And this is a deal. I promise it is a deal. 50% off comes in less than $25 a month for you if you do the monthly, or less than $250 annually. And it is an opportunity for you to be able to gather with other women leaders and entrepreneurs and really dig in to your passion and get the support, and so that you can go and grow further along in your journey. And one last thing that I want to say is that right now I am doing the 2021 planning challenge in my Intentional Growth Club Facebook community. If you've not been part of my community before, come hang out. That's where you'll get future teaching and learning, and where I'm taking my Brown Bag Break Forum to lives in the next year. And the goal, of course, is just to get intentional. And what better time right now than to get intentional, really reflect on what you learned from 2020 and take it in as you you complete some planning challenges that I have for you, so that you can hit the ground really running in the new year. And then this does end our recorded portion, and we go into an open discussion with our live attendees. So thank you so much for everyone who has joined me today in my panel. God bless you all for taking the time and giving so much to me and to my community. I cannot thank you enough. And this was a perfect way to end the 25th episode, the run that I've done for Brown Bag Breaks. It's been a joy getting to know these fine people, and I can't say enough about how wonderful they are and the services they provide and the beauty that they each bring to this world. So, and with that, I'm going to end the recording. Anyone have any other final sayings before we end this and we go to our open discussion?
I want to say something about your IGC VIP.
Okay.
I have gotten so much out of it. I can't even tell you the things that I've learned and the support that I've received, and not just kind of support from your average girlfriend, although it feels like that too. But, Jen, your education and your social and emotional understanding and knowledge, incorporating that into what you teach us and how you guide us and you help us, it is worth every penny. It's worth a heck of a lot more. But there's no doubt that I'm staying in next year, because it has been a great investment. So if you're out there and you're considering it, just do it. Don't think twice, just do it.
Thank you so much, Nina. You're embarrassing me. That was not planned. So you're catching this on the recording. I wasn't expecting that. Anyone else have any final thoughts? That doesn't have to be a kudo about me. Anything final? Okay.
Well, this is kind of a little practical thing, but in what I do with Legal Shield and ID Shield, I want to encourage everybody. I know the people on here probably have these relationships, but if you don't have a relationship with a local banker, if local being underscored, with your accountant and with your legal counsel, make sure that you do, because the people that were able to get the PPP money and manage it effectively have those relationships. And I didn't realize how important it was to bank locally until this year. So I just wanted to share that to make sure you have, start shifting if you need to, but have your kind of your board, your financial support team ready to assist as needed.
And one little thing I will say about Lee, in doing the Legal Shield stuff, the work that you've got through that has been wonderful. I got into that program after we had sat down through the summer and done our first get together, and it has paid for itself many times over by having legal advice you can contact. Give you an example. When I was creating my online course, I needed to put my stuff at the end of it, all of the disclaimers and everything. And to be able to have that document, send it in, have someone look over it, tweak it to make sure it's all legally done well, was enough by itself to pay for it. But there's a lot of good things about it. I can't say enough about it. So it's worth looking into for you if you're looking to have some legal counsel in your business.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all. And right at this point, we're going to stop our recording. Thank you so much.